Welcome students for online classes. So today we'll continue the chapter 7 under Indian economy, the employment, growth, information and other issues. The topic which we'll study today are economic growth and changing structure of employment, informalization of Indian workforce. So before to that we'll study what is economic activities and which are the sectors: employment in firms, factories and offices. So economic activity is divided into 8 different industrial divisions. So there are n number of industrial divisions, but main economic activities are these: agriculture, mining, manufacturing, electricity, construction, trade, transport and services. So before to that, what is economic activity? Activity which is concerned with aspect or concerned with money, monetary structure, financial things, that is known as economic activity. So an economic activity means the activity based on the usage of the scarce resource. What is the scarce resource or the scarcity of resources? Where you use any kind of resources even when there are only limited things. So that is known as scarcity of resources for the satisfaction of what? For the satisfaction of your personal wants, that is known as economic activity. For example, you will be having only limited amount. For 10 rupees you want to buy something big. So at this point of time, what will you think? As I'm having only 10 rupees, so that I'll buy something small now, and for the future thing I might ask the money with my parents so that I can buy something big. So that is scarcity of resources, where the economic activity will play a major role. So the working population engaged in different economic activities are classified into, where we had studied the 8 different divisions of industries which comes under all these 3 sectors, which are the 3 major sectors of the economy: primary, secondary and the tertiary. So the first one, what is primary? The activities related to nature, environment is called primary sector, where it depends on agriculture, cultivation, allied activities like fishing, horticulture, animal husbandry, all these things. Next thing, the secondary activities, the activities which produce finished goods from the raw materials supplied by the primary activities. So what do we do in primary? We cultivate things, maybe paddy, maybe sugarcane, wheat, all these things. So in secondary, what do? We process whatever we got from the primary sector. For example, we take the sugarcane to extract sugar from that. So that is the major example. So lastly, tertiary sector, all types of services provided to the people engaged in primary activities and secondary activities are called as tertiary sector. For example, this kind of thing, that the tertiary sector helps all the other sectors of the economy, that is primary and secondary. How? Maybe trading, buying and selling of the goods, communication, transportation, banking, all these things are necessary for the first 2 sectors in the economy. So the tertiary sector helps the other 2 sectors in our economy. So when I compare all these 3 things in the earlier process, so when I go to 1950, like after the independence, majorly when people didn't know anything, majority of the people were going to the agricultural sector. So right now when I compare to the earlier thing, what happens nowadays, the tertiary sector is playing a major role in the economy. Why? Because it is helping the other sector. So even the other sector needs the help of the tertiary sector. Maybe construction of roads, maybe transportation, all these things is necessary for the primary sector as well as secondary sector. So tertiary sector currently in our current generation, or in this particular era 2021, what is very much or what plays a major role when we compare all these three sectors. Tertiary sector plays a major role in our economy, and majority of the people are been working in the tertiary sector. So the next thing, economic growth and changing structure of employment. So how there is change in structure, the major thing what is happening in our economy, that is jobless growth. So what is jobless growth? When the economy has produced more goods and services, that is GDP. So what is GDP? Gross domestic product, where the production of goods and services which is being done in a year. Okay, so when the economy has produced more goods and services without the generation of employment is called as jobless growth. So how this jobless growth happens? So when I compare this current year with maybe 1950, what used to happen, there was more labor intensive goods long back. Labor intensive goods in the sense where labor used to work manually. But in the current scenario, what are we doing? We are using everything as capital intensive goods. So what is capital intensive goods? Capital intensive goods are so the goods which are being done with the help of machinery. Maybe biscuits, maybe the sofas, all these things are being done with the help of machinery. So because of this, what is happening in our economy, there is no proper employment opportunities. Why? Because if 10 workers work in a particular industry to do a sofa, in the same way one machinery will do all the 10 members work. Only one person is needed to switch on that particular machinery. So 9 of the members are being not employed. So that is happening in our economy, where the jobless growth is been increasing, where there is good production in our economy. Even then, what is happening, there is no proper job opportunities or employments in our economy. So maybe in public sector or in private sector, what happens, everybody are into capital intensive goods. Why? Because only less amount of salary or wages could be given to the people who work there. So what happens for the capital intensive goods, maybe machinery, which is one time investment, you invest in that so that for a year it will be working very good. So there might be some services or repairs to be done to the machine, to the machinery, which will not cost much as it costs for the workers they need to give while doing the salary or wages. So that is known as jobless growth. The next topic is informalization of Indian workforce. What is informalization? Informalization means irregularities of jobs, where some people will be employed today, but tomorrow what will the owner will tell, he'll fire them out just because he's not working in a particular field. So that is known as informalization of or irregularities in the work area. So the major objective of this informalization is to increase the standard of living of the people. So what people are thinking, to take out the irregularities from the job area, so that the major standard of living or income or any kind of thing could be given to the people in the economy. So the government is been providing, or government is been thinking of new schemes, new programs to be done on the basis of the employment opportunities, where there will be increase in the income, there will be increase in the standard of living of each and every individual in the economy. So Indian economy has divided the informalization into two kinds. First one is formal, which is also called as organized sector. Second is informal sector, or called as unorganized sector. First, we'll study about formal or organized sector. What does that mean? As the name itself tells, where there will be formal work structure given. All public sector and private sector establishments which employ 10 hired workers or more are called as formal sectors. Maybe any kind of companies, maybe any kind of industries. And one main thing what should be happen in the formal or organized sector is that that particular company, that particular industry should be registered under the government portal. Okay, that is one of the mainest thing under the formal. So what happens at this particular point of time, there will be regular salary, regular in the sense monthly salary will be given to each and everybody who are working there. So which includes all the private and public sector organizations. So what happens when I take 100% percentage into consideration, only 6% of workers are working under formal sector workers when we compare it to informal or the unorganized sector. Okay, so formal things where you will be working under a company, under government, under any industries for a longer period of time or for a longer duration with the regular salary, that is known as formal. Second one, what is informal or unorganized sector? Totally opposite to formal. The workers who are working in informal sector establishments are called as informal sector workers. So what kind of work? Maybe it includes farmers, owners, small enterprise, small traders, self-employed workers, etc. For example, I will be doing the business of trading clothes. I can be the middleman here, so that I purchase the goods from any production center and I'll sell it to the retailers or to the shops. That is also a kind of self employment, where I will be keeping a shop of stationery. That is also kind of self employment, where I will be keeping a shop of vegetables or fruits. That is also a kind of self employment, so which will not be registered under the government. That those things are called as the informal or unorganized sector. So what happens, majority of the people of the workers, that is 94% of the workers work under informal sector. So why? Because majority of the people wants to be independent, so they don't want to depend upon others, so that they get some profit, so they get some money. So all these things happens under informal. So lastly, the differences between formal sector and informal sector. First one, as told earlier, formal sector is organized, where everything is organized. For example, tomorrow there might be meeting, so for that particular thing, what in all things to be organized, maybe not only for the meeting, for all the future things. So the government might think that within a month I need to repair all the roads, or I need to construct all the roads, or within a year I need to provide employment opportunities. So all these things are the organized works. But when I come to the informal sector, what is it? It is unorganized sector, where they do not plan anything for the future, where they will be thinking that profit is a main motive and they need to work according to that. Second one, only registered business, where everything should be registered. Under informal, it is not necessary for them to be registered. Even if they want to be registered under government, it is not a problem, but it is not necessary for them to register under any government portal. Next one, as told earlier, it is regular salaried workers. Under informal, self and casual workers, so they will be not getting a proper salary every month. For example, if this month you might get a profit of 10,000, next month you might get a profit of 20,000, or it might even come to 5,000. So it depends on how hard you work, or to what extent you put your work in that particular process. Next one, strong trade union. So what does that mean? Under formal sector, as it is a teamwork. So everybody in a company, everybody in an industry, everybody in that work area should come together, so that they split their work accordingly. So but when it comes to informal, it is absence of strong trade unions. Why? Because it is not a good teamwork where only individual will be working. They might be having partners. So only 2 to 3 members combine together to do their own work, so there will be no strong trade union, so that anybody from behind support them only when there are any kind of loss. So when there are any kind of loss, they need to control themselves, they need to manage themselves at that point of time. Next one, fixed wages. So every month there will be, 50,000 is a salary, every month you will be getting a salary under formal sector. But informal sector, it is unfixed, based upon your hard work you will be working. For example, as told earlier, if you get this month 50,000 of profit, next month it is not necessary, you might get more than that, you might get less than that. So it is unfixed wages. Lastly, under formal sector, it comes upon, or it comes under the social security measure, like Indian labor organization. So based upon the Indian labor organization, you need to be registered under that, you need to follow all the rules and regulations based upon Indian labor organization. But under informal sector, there is no such security measure. If you face any kind of loss, if you face any kind of problem during the work process, there is no security given by any kind of the organization in the economy. But under formal sector, what happens, the people will support you at any point of time. So that is the differences between formal and informal sector. So lastly, reasons for the fall in employment in the organized sector, that is under the formal sector. First one, use of modern technology. So what happens, as told earlier, people are using capital intensive goods. So at this point of time, as the technology changes, it is automatic that people start adopt new things. So at this point of time, what will happen, majority of the people will be gone out of their jobs. So it will be a negative thing for them. Even then, it will be a positive thing for the industry. It is a negative thing for the people in the economy. So because of this, because of the modern technology, employment in the economy is been decreasing. Next thing, seek organized industries. As they, you need to go order by order, you need to plan things, you need to plan things for the future, you need to do everything based upon the higher authorities tell. So whatever your plans, whatever your ideas could not be put into that. So because of this, what happens, majority of the organized sectors might face a loss. So because of this, the employment opportunities will be coming down. Next, lack of proper management. So what happens when a scheme comes? Okay, I'll be telling you a normal example where in the beginning the people used to tell you need to wear helmets, you need to wear seat belts, all these things. But within a span of time, maybe within a year, maybe within 6 months, what happens, the police or the cops will not take much thing into them. So why? Because there is no proper management. If they take control of this thing, throughout a year, throughout many years, what happens, there will be controllance with the people around our area or our surroundings. So because of this, there is lack of proper management. So because of this also, the organized sector will be coming down. So because of that, proper people will not think of going to that particular sector for the work process. Lastly, neglect of government. Yeah, the same example, in the beginning the government will be very much keen into all the problems of the economy, but once the parties change, once the rule change, what happens, a majority of the political parties or the government will not be keen into all the problems of the economy. They will check into only the major problems of the economy. Even small to small problem in the economy is also a major thing for each and every individual. So because of this, the neglect of the government, what happens, the organized sector, people stop going to these organized sectors. So these are the reasons why there is fall in the employment opportunities in the organized sector. So the assignment part, name the different types of economic activities, define jobless growth, what is informalization of workforce, write a note on informal sector, lastly distinguish between formal and informal sector. Thank you, students.